Last month, China's government introduced the most comprehensive reform to its company law since the changes implemented after its accession to the World Trade Organization in 2001. The new rules are adding yet another layer of complexity for Chinese companies already struggling with overcapacity and a slowing domestic economy. Meanwhile, China's leaders are betting that these reforms will make business less volatile and easier for the Communist Party to control. The new law introduces three significant changes to the corporate landscape in China. First, it reforms the country's unique system of registered capital, where founding shareholders commit to providing a certain amount of money to their company, a figure creditors often use as a basis for extending loans. Previously, there was no requirement for founders to immediately transfer the capital. As a result, many pledged implausibly high sums, promising to deliver them over an extended period, sometimes spanning 50 years or more. Under the new rules, founders must fulfill their capital commitments within 5 years of registration. Those who knowingly overcommit could face personal debt or be forced to divest their stake in the business. The second change increases the legal risks for company executives. The new law opens avenues for creditors and third parties, such as consumers, to seek compensation from directors and officers. Shareholders may also be held liable in cases of vaguely defined abuses. These changes bring Chinese company law closer to the norms in developed countries, according to Professor Lei Chen of Durham University. However, this alignment offers little comfort to Chinese businesses, which are scrambling to adapt. Almost all companies in China will need to adjust their articles of association and are being advised to obtain insurance for their directors and officers. Would-be founders may find it harder to secure loans and might opt for less suitable corporate structures, such as partnerships, to avoid the heavier regulatory burden. The third major change is likely the most concerning for multinational companies operating in China. The new law requires companies with over 300 employees to include a worker representative on their boards, and management must consult these representatives before making significant business decisions. The question, as noted by Kai Kim of Taylor Wessing, a global law firm, is how these worker representatives will be chosen in practice. Unlike in countries with similar provisions, such as Germany, in China, the 1.6 million Communist Party cells embedded within enterprises are likely to play a significant role in nominating these representatives. Consequently, those selected are expected to align closely with the government's views. According to Natalie Marakova of the University of Oxford, party cells within the Chinese operations of multinational firms are already more active than many foreign headquarters realize. Notably, China's new company law includes vague language regarding the government's right to safeguard social and economic order, granting it broad authority to interfere in corporate operations as it sees fit. A communiqué issued after last month's third plenum, a meeting of senior party officials, highlighted both the importance of making the economy more dynamic and the need to better maintain order in the market. The new company law suggests that for China's leaders, control remains paramount. Meanwhile, experts are divided on whether these measures will help China address the significant challenges its economy faces. The crisis of overcapacity is already evident. Hingqi, an electric vehicle EV maker owned by Evergrande, a failed property developer, recently informed investors that 2 of its subsidiaries had been forced into bankruptcy. The group originally aimed to sell 1 million EVs annually by 2025. Amid fierce competition, it sold only 1,189 last year. The oversupply in industrial production extends beyond EVs. At the end of June, around 30% of industrial firms were operating at a loss, surpassing the previous peak recorded during the Asian financial crisis in 1988, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Their survey of over 500,000 companies reveals a stark deterioration in industrial conditions in the first half of the year, with the number of loss-making firms surging by 44%. In recent years, handouts, cheap loans, and direct government investments have flooded into manufacturing sectors favored by Xi Jinping, China's leader, with some remarkable results. Under his leadership, China has become a global leader in EVs and lithium-ion lithium-ion batteries. However, the economy is weakening and consumption is declining. Domestic car sales have fallen year on year in recent months. Exports in July fell short of expectations, according to data released on August 7th. Meanwhile, heavily indebted local governments are becoming less generous in their support for struggling firms. The Economist examined three of Mr. Xi's most favored industries: EVs, solar modules, and semiconductors, and the outlook is grim. Starting with EVs, at least 8 large manufacturers have shut down or halted production since the start of 2023, causing ripples throughout the supply chain. Qingdao High-Tech Molds, a major auto parts supplier, warned earlier this year that the halting of production at Hi-Fi, an automaker, could slash its net profit by up to 60%. SAIC Angie Logistics, an auto industry logistics provider, said during recent bankruptcy proceedings that it collapsed primarily because Airways, another struggling automaker, failed to pay its bills. The failure of Levdeo, yet another car maker, left 4 billion yuan, $550 million, in unpaid bills to suppliers, agents, and banks. According to one estimate, 52,000 EV-related companies shut down in China last year, nearly 90% more than the year before. China's solar industry is also facing an oversupply crisis. This year, the prices of most solar module components have fallen below their average production cost, leading many companies to scale back manufacturing or abandon plans to enter the market. Haitai Solar, a solar components manufacturer, has indicated that it expects prices to drop further. The largest producers in the industry have cash reserves to help them survive, but smaller suppliers, watching their profits evaporate, are under significant pressure, according to Alicia Garcia Herrero of Natixis, an investment bank. The semiconductor industry is undergoing a similar shakeout. Local governments have focused their investments on low-end chip components to easily win market share, notes an industry insider. However, these components are now in oversupply, and many companies producing them are failing. In 2023, nearly 11,000 chip-related firms went out of business, about 30 per day, according to Chichacha, a company that tracks corporate data. This figure, which has been reported in Chinese media, is accurate, but the data has become too sensitive for further public disclosure. China's central government is beginning to recognize the pressure on the country's manufacturers. Xi Jinping recently acknowledged the issue of overinvestment in some green technologies. In late July, minutes from a Politburo meeting emphasized the need to avoid Neijuan-style vicious competition. Neijuan, often translated as involution, is now commonly used in China to describe intense, self-destructive competition. Yet avoiding a period of industrial involution may prove difficult for China. Xi's overriding ambition has been to create high-tech champions across various industries capable of competing globally and reducing China's reliance on foreign intellectual property. State support has typically been channeled through local governments, many of which have spent recklessly, leading to a glut of small, uncompetitive suppliers. Moreover, the debt amassed by local governments is making it harder for them to rescue struggling industrial firms. Cities and provinces are now saddled with around 60 trillion yuan in debt, and many have been instructed to curb spending. Failed investments are further worsening their fiscal situations. The collapse of Ikang, a major solar company in Zhejiang province, has become a concern for local leaders. A local government investment vehicle is its main shareholder. The state has begun to encourage consolidation, but this will not be easy. Most companies in oversupplied sectors are looking to reduce capacity, not acquire more. In the solar industry, there are few attractive acquisition targets, according to Cosimo Rios of Trivium, a consulting firm. It is unlikely that the dwindling group of successful EV companies will buy failing brands, which would entail taking responsibility for legacy customers who can no longer get the software software updates needed to keep their cars running. In its July meeting, the Politburo stated that the market must filter out weak producers and promote strong ones. Over time, this should lead to more capital and labor being allocated to China's most productive manufacturers, making them even stronger. But the process will be painful. The looming question is whether China can navigate these profound economic challenges through tighter controls on business amid growing geopolitical tensions with the U.S., dependency on EU markets, and its controversial cooperation with Russia, all while grappling with demographic reversals and a declining inflow of investments into the country. Please subscribe to the channel and support us on Patreon. The link is down below.